Elliotte Friedman has revealed some absolutely insane information from the Boston Bruins as of late, stretching from everything from the NHL trade deadline to a reported trade that Jeremy Swayman was discussed in. Now, we're going to be talking about that as well as a roster move the Bruins made today by calling up Johnny Beecher and why that could be the case. Now, we're going to get into all of this here in this video. Before we do, we notice that 95% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. So if you're looking for a spot to get all your Boston Bruins news as it happens, to stay up to date with everything for the rest of the season, going into the offseason, and for the future, you're in the right spot. Make sure to hit the sub button and join us along on this very fun journey that we're going to have covering the Boston Bruins. But like I said, Elliotte Friedman is the man of the hour. We need to discuss some stuff that he had said on the 32 Thoughts of the podcast recently, and some of this just absolutely blows my mind. We're going to be talking about the first one here, which is his thoughts on the Bruins trade deadline. He has to say this: I think Boston would be one of the more disappointing teams in that they couldn't do some of the things they wanted to do. But I think Boston is going to be a really interesting team in the offseason. There's no question about that to me. Now, that's one thing that we've discussed here on this channel for the brief time that we've been here discussing the Bruins, that this is going to be a very big offseason for Boston, with everything from Jeremy Swayman going to be extended, whether that's this season or in the offseason, as well as what they want to do with Linus Ullmark. We've discussed the possibility of trading him. We've discussed the possibility of, them running with two goalies next season, potentially seeing if Ullmark would take a pay cut to stay on this team, which seems, something that he's interested in. But there are a lot of other things they want to do. Obviously, this, like Elliotte Friedman said, was a very disappointing trade deadline for the Bruins in that they only made these two trades. Now, Andrew Peeke, I think, is a very sneaky one that will eventually, work out to be a very, very good move. Patrick Maroon is something that is just, he's there to get some physicality on this team. Patrick Maroon's not a guy that's going to go out, score a goal when you need him to, being a playmaker. That's never what he's been in his career, and it's not what he's going to do here. There's going to be no change in that, but I do think that Andrew Peeke is going to be a good addition for this future of the team. Just with, the situation he was in Columbus, where he wasn't getting every opportunity. They have a lot of rookies, a lot of prospects that were given opportunities to be on that team. So I think on this team now, where he's going to be a solid defenseman, eventually, maybe not right now, but eventually, it'll work out. But other than that, the rumors and the reports that we had from this Bruins team, everything from Noah Hannafin to Elias Lindholm, and none of that happened. I can see where the frustration is, especially from a viewer standpoint on what happened with the Bruins deadline. So, like Elliotte Friedman said, it's going to be a very interesting thing that they're probably going to come back to a lot of these players, come back to a lot of things that they missed out on this deadline, and looking at what the possibilities are of those occurring in the offseason. But another report that he had from this massive, podcast here was that Jeremy Swayman was reportedly in many trades the Bruins that we're speaking about. And I wouldn't say from the Bruins part, likely not. But he had to say this on the 32 Thoughts of the podcast. Sorry about that, wrong screenshot. In the latest 32 Thoughts of the podcast, Elliotte Friedman said that he believes the Bruins GM Don Sweeney rejected trade offers for goalie Jeremy Swayman heading into the recent NHL trade deadline. Now, this is an absolutely huge news. This right here, if not already, revealed, saying that Jeremy Swayman is going to be part of the Bruins' future. That's who they're choosing to build this team around on the back side of it, the goaltending side. Linus Ullmark being 30 years old, his future could be in Boston, but it won't be a very long future as of this point. Goalies can play a little bit older than players, but there's still a big drop-off point around, after the age of 35. So that kind of reveals to me that Swayman is going to be the future of this team, but also that teams were, not really sure what the Bruins were planning on doing, what their plans were going to be. From what we've heard before this deadline is that Jeremy Swayman is going to be the guy. The Bruins are looking to extend him, whether it be this season, whether it be in the offseason, but he's going to be the future of this team. So I really am curious to see what some of those returns, what some of those trade offers could have been for a guy like Jeremy Swayman, who, is obviously having the season of his career so far, another very good season last year as well, and seemingly only getting better. So, obviously that would have had to been a large return for Boston to accept it if they were going to. In no way do I think they ever would have accepted a trade for Jeremy Swayman unless they, heavily benefited from the return and, completely changed the course of this franchise. But I'm very curious just to, if we'd ever hear something, a proposed trade that happened down the road. Elliotte Friedman knows what kind of, if he knows what kind of, trade was being discussed for Jeremy Swayman, or if it was just Jeremy Swayman's name mentioned in a trade. But either way, Elliotte Friedman, very, very, important thing that he reported on there, that Swayman was apparently in trade discussions, whether it or not it was close at all. I highly doubt it, but you never really know with trades in the NHL nowadays. A lot of people are getting traded that you never really would expect, and all types of things like that. But still a very, very interesting point there by Elliotte Friedman, and I wonder if we'll ever hear anything from Don Sweeney. I highly doubt it once again, but it'll be interesting to see if anything does come out of this in the future, any reports or anything. Do I see Swayman being traded? No chance. He's going to get a major extension with the Bruins, and he's the future of this team. So, that's my two cents on it, but very interesting nonetheless for that report from Elliotte Friedman as well, But one final bit of news we have here is that the Bruins have made a roster move ahead of tonight's game. This is a bit of an interesting one once again, is that Johnny Beecher was called up by the Bruins, coming back to the NHL, for, played one of his better games yesterday from this report by Mark Diver. I really do apologize. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it, but, to me this points that he's going to be getting some reps on the fourth line once again. He's going to be into that lineup with, Pat Maroon, Justin Brazeau, a few of those new guys that are going to be on this team, and definitely a good part for some face-off depth. He knows how to take a face-off. With the Bruins, recently, I don't want to say been lacking on, but it's definitely been a major hole they've been missing out on, from the standpoint of a centerman in the NHL now. But, Johnny Beecher, pretty good season this year in the AHL, or I shouldn't say season, the few games in the AHL he's played, the 17, and hasn't really found that, groove. I haven't also had a chance yet with the Bruins this season, but once again, I do think that he's going to be a big part of this team in the future. You can see from his Providence stats that he's been getting that, getting those reps, I guess you could say, the chances, and once he gets that NHL level of competitiveness, once he finds that spot, I think it's going to turn right out into be an excellent move. Whether he comes up and down over the next few seasons, once again, I'm sure he will. I don't think this team's in any rush to put up these prospects. They're still going for that playoff run. So Johnny Beecher is definitely an excellent addition to the team for the time being. Definitely put him in and out of the lineup. I don't really know if I would stick him straight into, full NHL mode right now. The playoffs are coming up soon, so the Bruins are just going to have to find ways to win. I think that Johnny Beecher will definitely help out in certain games, certain, standpoints for where this team is right now with the new acquisitions, the fourth line, and everything like that. So that was work out perfectly, but, that's all we got for this video. Johnny Beecher called up, but two very interesting points by Elliotte Friedman here on 32 Thoughts of the Podcast. So let me know what you think about those reports from Friedman, as well as Johnny Beecher being called up. The Bruins, after this post-trade deadline buzz, everything is starting to get back into shape. Played excellent last game. Game tonight as well. I do expect some phenomenal things coming out of this team. So we'll see where this game heads, and we'll see what this team, what the news comes out of here in the next few hours, few days, and we'll be keeping you up to date. So make sure to hit the sub button. Join us along if you don't want to miss out on any of the major Boston Bruins news. But that's all I got. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to give it a like. Make sure to hit the sub button. Like I said, we're gonna have all the news for you here. We're gonna keep you updated on everything that you got. So that's all I got. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.